Welcome back to Real Agency News. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on all the latest real estate news that matters to you here in Florida. You know us, we break it down every week to help you stay ahead of the game as a Florida realtor.
And this week, we're taking a deep dive into a recent Miami Herald article.
It's a fascinating look at how the 2024 election could impact the Florida housing market. And trust me, you'll want to pay attention to this one.
Especially considering we're in the thick of a major housing crunch here in South Florida.
Oh yeah, things are getting pretty intense out there.
The Herald article points out that the median price for a single-family home in Miami-Dade County is now over $650,000.
Yeah, I saw that, 653,400 to be exact.
Ouch, and condos aren't exactly a bargain either.
No kidding. They're averaging over 400,000.
420,000 to be precise.
So not exactly what you'd call affordable.
Nope, not even close. And Broward and Palm Beach counties aren't far behind.
It's definitely a seller's market right now.
Absolutely. But the really interesting part of this article is that they tapped 3 real estate experts to weigh in on the candidates' housing proposals.
Oh, that's smart. Get some different perspectives.
Exactly. They've got Sanada Ajem, who you might remember actually used to work with the Trump Organization.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And then there's Jonathan Miller, who runs a real estate consultancy firm.
Okay, so he's got that big picture view.
Right. And last but not least, there's Ned Murray, who focuses specifically on affordable housing.
So a good mix of expertise there.
For sure. So let's jump into it. What really struck me was the difference in approach between the 2 main candidates.
Yeah, it seems like Harris is really zeroing in on those first-time homebuyers.
Big time. She's talking a lot about tax credits and assistance with down payments.
Which makes sense. You got to help people get their foot in the door somehow, especially
Yeah.
with prices being what they are.
Exactly. And then there's that $40 billion housing innovation fund she's proposing.
Yeah, I was curious about that. How would that even work?
Well, the idea is that cities and counties could tap into this fund to develop more affordable housing.
That could be huge, especially for a place like Florida where we're constantly struggling with inventory shortages.
Right. Now, whether that would actually bring prices down is up for debate.
Right, because if you suddenly have more people who can afford to buy, you might just end up with even more competition for the same limited number of homes.
Precisely. That's what Jonathan Miller, the consultant, is worried about. He thinks it could actually inflate prices even further.
That's the last thing we need.
No kidding. But hey, at least people would be able to buy something.
True. Okay, so what about that down payment assistance she's proposing? $25,000 is nothing to sneeze at.
No, it's not. That could be a real game changer for a lot of folks.
But again, could that just drive prices up even more if everyone suddenly has an extra 25 grand to throw around?
It's a valid concern. It's like giving everyone more money to bid on the same limited supply.
Yeah, you're basically just shifting the problem around.
Maybe. So it's not a simple solution by any means.
Okay, so down payment assistance, pros and cons. Now, what about that capital gains tax increase Harris is talking about? That's got to have some of your luxury clients sweating a bit, right?
Sanada Ejim definitely thinks it'll make a difference, especially at the higher end of the market.
Yeah, I can see that. If you're selling a multi-million-dollar property, a higher capital gains tax could eat into your profits pretty significantly.
Exactly. She's predicting that it could lead to fewer transactions in the luxury market.
Because people would rather hold on to their properties longer and avoid that bigger tax hit.
Precisely. So that could mean even less inventory at the high end.
Okay, so we've got Harris focused on helping first-time buyers and potentially shaking up the luxury market with that tax increase. Now let's switch gears and talk about what a Trump presidency could mean for Florida real estate. One thing that jumps out at me is his idea of slapping tariffs on imports, especially from China.
And that could have a ripple effect throughout the entire construction industry.
Because a lot of those building materials come from overseas, right?
Exactly. So if those tariffs go into effect, building costs could skyrocket. And you know what that means.
Higher prices for everyone. Buyers, renters, you name it.
You got it. So even if Trump's policies lead to more building, those higher costs could offset any potential benefits.
Ouch. Not a great scenario for anyone involved.
Nope. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
All right, so tariffs could lead to higher prices. Now, what about his plan to open up federal land for housing development?
Yeah, that one's a bit controversial.
Yeah, I can see why, on the one hand, more land equals more potential for building, right?
Right. You could theoretically increase inventory and maybe even drive prices down a bit.
But this is Florida we're talking about.
Yeah.
We've got Delicate ecosystems, sensitive coastlines.
Exactly. That's what Ned Murray is worried about. He thinks we should be protecting those lands, not building on them.
Plus, wouldn't all that new development impact property values for homes near those federal lands?
It's definitely a possibility, so there are a lot of potential downsides to consider.
Okay, so we've got tariffs potentially driving up prices and federal land development with its own set of pros and cons. What else is on Trump's agenda?
Well, he's also talking about privatizing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Now, those are some big names in the mortgage world.
They are. They're basically the government-sponsored enterprises that back a huge chunk of mortgages in the U.S.
So what would it mean to privatize them?
Well, Trump's argument is that it would lead to more competition in the mortgage market and potentially lower rates for borrowers.
Okay, I can see the logic there. But wouldn't that also mean less government oversight?
It could, and that's what some people are worried about. They think it could make it harder for certain borrowers to get mortgages.
Especially those who might not have perfect credit or a big down payment.
Exactly. Sonata Ejim actually thinks it could lead to higher mortgage rates for middle-class buyers.
Oh, wow. So not exactly the outcome Trump is promising.
Nope, it's a complex issue with a lot of potential consequences.
Now, even with all this uncertainty, the Miami Herald article did highlight one positive thing.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
The South Florida real estate market is expected to remain strong no matter who wins.
So that's good news.
Yeah, the demand is there, the supply is limited, and people love living in Florida.
Those fundamentals aren't going away anytime soon.
Exactly. So while there will be changes, the overall outlook is positive.
That's definitely something to keep in mind.
All right, so key takeaways. Stay informed, stay adaptable, and remember that the South Florida market is resilient.
We're passionate about helping people succeed in this industry, and we believe that with the right knowledge and support, anyone can achieve their real estate dreams.
So what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Real Agency, and let's get started.